Welcome back to Share Science, the weekly science brief for April 27th, 2026. I'm Curie.
And I'm Derek.
This week, one of the most controversial science stories of the past 2 years just hit a major turning point. The dark oxygen mystery from the Pacific Deep Sea, which might be producing oxygen in a way we've never seen before, completely separate from sunlight or photosynthesis.
Wait, oxygen without photosynthesis? That's like rewriting the rules of biology. What's going on down there?
It's a mystery that's been brewing for 2 years, and it's all centered around the Clarion-Clipperton Zone in the Pacific Ocean. Back in 2024, researchers found oxygen levels rising in sealed seafloor chambers, 4,000 meters deep, in total darkness. No sunlight, no plants, no algae, just oxygen appearing where it shouldn't.
That's already blowing my mind. How did they even begin to explain this?
The researchers proposed that polymetallic nodules, these potato-sized lumps of manganese, cobalt, and other metals scattered across the seafloor, might be acting as natural geobatteries. They suggested these nodules could generate enough electrical potential to split seawater molecules into oxygen and hydrogen through electrolysis.
So basically, the rocks themselves might be creating oxygen? That's incredible, but I'm guessing not everyone bought into this idea.
Oh, not at all. The claim sparked a huge debate. Critics pointed out that the voltage measured on the nodules wasn't high enough to trigger electrolysis, which typically requires at least 1.23 volts. And then there were issues with the original experiments, like the fact that some tests didn't even include nodules, just manganese oxide particles. That detail wasn't disclosed in the original paper, which raised a lot of eyebrows.
So where does that leave us now? Is this still an open question?
Absolutely. Just this month, Nature Geoscience added an editorial note to the original paper, signaling significant concerns about its validity. Meanwhile, the lead researcher has walked back some of the original claims, focusing more on manganese oxides as the potential source of the oxygen. But the big question, whether the oxygen signal is real, remains unanswered.
And they're actively trying to figure that out, right? I remember you mentioned something about new expeditions.
Yes, earlier this year, the team launched the first of 3 deep-sea expeditions funded by Japan's Nippon Foundation. They're using custom landers that can measure both oxygen and hydrogen simultaneously. If electrolysis is happening, you'd expect to see 2 hydrogen atoms for every oxygen atom. These measurements have never been taken before, so the results could be groundbreaking.
This is such a high-stakes mystery. If these nodules are critical to deep-sea ecosystems, mining them for battery metals could have devastating consequences. It's not just a scientific puzzle, it's an environmental and economic one too.
Exactly. It's a story with huge implications, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye on it.
Let's shift gears to something that feels like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. Artificial neurons that can actually communicate with living brain cells. This comes from engineers at Northwestern University, and their findings were just published in Nature Nanotechnology.
This is such a fascinating breakthrough. Artificial neurons have been around for a while, but they've always had major limitations. Most of them are made from rigid silicon, which doesn't integrate well with the soft, dynamic tissue of the brain. And they're overly simplistic. They can only produce one type of electrical pulse, whereas real neurons have a whole repertoire of firing patterns.
So what's different about these new artificial neurons?
The Northwestern team used a material called molybdenum disulfide, or MOS2, combined with graphene. These materials were deposited as electronic inks onto flexible polymer substrates using a technique called aerosol jet printing. The result is a device that's not only flexible enough to conform to biological surfaces, but also capable of generating complex, neuron-like electrical signals.
And the key breakthrough was in how they treated the polymer, right?
Exactly. Instead of burning away the polymer, as most researchers do, they partially decomposed it under heat. This created tiny pathways that mimic the electrical behavior of real neurons. The result is a device that can produce the full range of neural firing patterns: single spikes, bursts, oscillations, you name it.
And when they tested these artificial neurons on slices of mouse brain tissue, the living neurons actually responded to the signals. That's incredible.
It really is. The timing, shape, and duration of the artificial signals all matched the biological range, so the real neurons treated them like natural inputs. It's a huge step forward for both medical and computing applications.
The implications are staggering. On the medical side, this could lead to better brain-computer interfaces, neuroprosthetics, and even treatments for conditions like Parkinson's or stroke. On the computing side, it could pave the way for neuromorphic hardware, AI systems modeled directly on the brain, which would be far more energy efficient than current technologies.
It's a perfect example of how breakthroughs in material science can open up entirely new possibilities. This is definitely a story to watch. Now let's talk about Africa, where the continent is literally splitting apart along the East African Rift. This isn't a new discovery. Geologists have known about the rift for decades, but new research confirms that the process is well underway and will eventually create a new ocean.
So how does a continent split apart? What's driving this process?
It all comes down to tectonic forces. The East African Rift is where the African plate is being pulled apart by movements in the Earth's mantle. The rift runs from the Afar Triangle in the north through Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, and Mozambique. Over millions of years, the low-lying areas of the rift will connect with the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, allowing ocean water to flood in.
And what does the rift look like today? Is it something you can actually see?
Absolutely. The Great Rift Valley is the surface expression of this process. It's a dramatic landscape of lakes, valleys, and volcanic features. In some places, the rift is already below sea level. And there have been moments of rapid change, like in 2005, when the ground in the Afar region cracked open by several meters in just a matter of days as magma pushed through below.
It's fascinating to think that in a few million years, the map of Africa will look completely different. The Horn of Africa will become an island, separated from the rest of the continent by a new ocean.
It's a powerful reminder that the Earth's surface is constantly reshaping itself. The continents we see today are just snapshots in a much longer geological story.
Our next story takes us to Egypt, where researchers have discovered two hidden voids inside the Menkaure pyramid at Giza. This is the smallest of the three Great Pyramids, and it's been relatively understudied compared to its larger counterparts.
The discovery was made using non-invasive techniques like muon tomography, ground-penetrating radar, and infrared thermography. These tools allow researchers to peer inside the pyramid without causing any damage.
And what did they find?
Two air-filled voids behind the eastern face of the pyramid. The researchers are cautious about describing their size and purpose. They haven't physically entered them yet. But these voids are real, and they're not consistent with ordinary construction gaps. They could be chambers, corridors, or something else entirely.
It's a reminder that even after thousands of years, the pyramids still hold secrets. Who knows what else we might discover as technology continues to advance?
Finally, let's talk about Antarctica, where ancient ice cores have revealed a climate record stretching back 3 million years. This is the Pliocene epoch, a time when the Earth was significantly warmer than it is today.
And what did the ice reveal?
The relationship between CO2 levels and temperature during the Pliocene is more complex than we thought. There were periods when temperatures were much warmer than today, but CO2 levels weren't proportionally higher. This suggests that other factors, like ocean circulation and ice sheet dynamics, played a bigger role in driving temperature.
It's fascinating and a little unsettling because the Pliocene is the closest natural analog we have to the climate trajectory we're currently on. Understanding how the climate system behaved then could help us predict what's coming.
The ice is like a time capsule, preserving a record of the Earth's past that can inform our future. It's a powerful reminder of why this kind of research matters.
That's our roundup for this week. From the mysteries of the deep ocean to the secrets of the pyramids, the Earth continues to surprise and inspire us.
Absolutely. Science is a never-ending journey of discovery, and we're so glad to have you along for the ride. Stay curious, everyone.
Until next time!